Hello, and welcome back to the Grace Yourself Podcast, where the grace is always greener. My name's Grace, and it's lovely to be back. I'm so sorry that I've been gone for so long, guys. My bad. Truly, life's been busy. I was in EMT school, I finished EMT school, just was dealing with a lot of stuff. Still, actually right now, I'm not busy at all. I've just been slacking. Anyways, let's get into this. Today's episode is about listening. Are you listening? That was your cue to listen to the... I don't know why I closed my notebook. That was your cue to start listening if you aren't right now. Without further ado, I have lots to talk about, but I'm going to try to make it quick for you guys. In this episode, we are going to cover how to listen, active and passive listening, why people struggle to listen, but also listening to yourself, and why we crave being listened to. Very important things. My only qualifications to talk about this are I get a compliment quite frequently that I'm great at listening. And jokes aside, I am so grateful every time I get this compliment. Thank you so much to anyone who has ever said that to me. Truly, you don't know how much that means. Compliments are great, but when it's something like that, that's more about character, it means a lot. So thank you to anyone who's ever said that or thought it and didn't say it. And if you have somebody in your life who you think is a good listener, I think you should tell them right now. Send them a text. Well, that might be weird. Just let them know next time they're listening and doing good, okay? Let me start this off by saying listening is not a gene. It's not something that you're born with. So you can mess up, you can practice, and you can get better at it. If you think, my posture looks bad. If you think that you are a bad listener, you might be. So let's get working on it, right? No time but the present. Anyways, let's start off with how to listen, okay? So, first things first, you need to be present, okay? Distractions, no. Phone, no. Put that stuff aside, okay? We want to be present. We want to take what they're saying, and we don't only want to hear the words that are coming out of their mouth. We want to understand the words that are coming out of their mouth. With that being said, ask questions. If something's confusing you, ask them, oh, what did you mean by this? Or just listening in general, asking questions is good, guys. Like, oh, like if they say something, how did that make you feel? Or, oh, do you think that affected you in some kind of way? Something like that. Simple phrases really will get a person talking, and that's what you want. You want someone to feel heard and understood. You don't want them to think that you're just sitting there and, like, words going in one ear and out the other, you know? Next. Don't hijack the conversation, okay? You know what I mean by this. There's not much explaining. However, I will explain anyways. When they are talking, do not go and they finish their sentence and immediately say, oh my gosh, yeah, one time, blah, 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 blah. Same thing happened to you. Now, this is not always the worst thing in a sense of like if they need to feel related to or they feel lonely in a way, make them feel like they are not alone, right? However, respond to what they're saying before you go and start talking about yourself. That one time I was talking to this person, I told them about something that I had gone through, and they proceeded to say, oh my gosh, I went, like, without any context, like, no response of what I said, or what they said to me. Immediately go and say, oh my gosh, yeah, the same thing happened to me. Proceeds to tell me about something that happened to them that had nothing to do with what I just said. Not only did I feel unheard, it almost made me feel not valid in a sense, because I was like, in my head I was like, what they're telling me is nothing like what I just said, by any means. It could not have been interpreted to be like similar to what I said. No. So just don't hijack the conversation. And I kind of already covered this, but like reflect on what they're saying. So you're like, oh, how did that make you feel? Okay, they say it. So it's like, okay, it makes sense that you felt blank when they did blank. Like, I would probably feel that way too, or that's a valid response to that. But don't lie to them. It's not your job to fix what is going on. It's not your job to fix a person. But if you're close enough with this person and you think that they would take it in a right sense, maybe casually bring up, well, maybe they reacted that way because of your response. Like they did something because you said this or did that. This might not always be the best. However, if you're judging the conversation and you think it would maybe help them to be told that, maybe go ahead and tell them. But again, take that one carefully because you don't want to make them not feel valid. You should still be able to make them feel valid while also like, guys, my shirt's falling out. You want to be able to make them feel validated while also maybe bringing to light something that they could have improved in the situation. Again, be careful with that one. And the last point on this one I have is sitting with the silence. Silence is okay. Silence is good. Silence often leads to further thought processing and clarity or remembering something you also wanted to say. When they are not talking, but they seem to be thinking maybe, don't just try to continue the conversation. Let's sit with that silence for a little bit and, just let it ride out a little bit. Next, I'm going to talk about active and passive listening. I'm not going to talk much about this because it's kind of self-explanatory. So, real quick, passive listening. You're zoning out. You're just saying, yeah. Which, mind you, when they're talking, as they're talking, you're like, like, yeah, that, yeah. Without interrupting, but you're saying, yeah. Making sure that they know you're listening is one thing. Them saying an entire statement and you're going, yeah, that's crazy. Or, yeah. That is a fake response. And that is not okay. I'm not talking about when you're listening to them and you're going like, just acknowledging that you're still listening. That shows them that you're staying present, and that can make them feel good knowing that you're genuinely listening to them. So into active listening, again, asking questions to further the discussion, letting them finish before tapping in. Don't cut them off. And I used to have this problem because I'm a big talker. I used to have a problem of sometimes people would be talking and I would just be so excited to say that what I wanted to say. I would have such an issue not cutting them off. And over time, like I said, listening is not a gene. You're not born with it. You can work on it and get better. That's what I did. I practiced listening. Got a lot better. Why we struggle to listen as a society or as an individual. Why do we struggle to listen? This is a big thing, and I want you to really pay attention to this. When's the last time you listened to what someone was saying without planning what you were going to say next? We're all guilty of it. I still do it sometimes. Very common thing. Listen to the person. Sit with the silence while you come up with a response. Take note of something they said, oh, that, blah, blah. But don't zone out halfway through them speaking, thinking about, oh, I need to say all of these things. What's meant to be said will be said. And if it's not, hit them up later and tell them, Another thing is people are very, not all people, but a lot of people are uncomfortable when it comes to heavy emotions. You know what I mean? And they don't necessarily know how to take them. A lot of people, dark humor, sometimes people will make really harsh jokes about things, and that's their way of coping with those emotions, instead of speaking about them and talking them out and actually coping. Instead, they're just going to joke about it. A lot of people are uncomfortable with that. And time will help. Maybe them get better at that. Sometimes it's just someone's sense of humor and it's like, okay, like, can't do much about that, whatever. To each their own. But a lot of people are uncomfortable with heavy emotions, and that causes them to not be good at listening, because when you start talking about something very emotional, they don't even know how to respond. Another thing is they don't want to lose control. Sometimes when you're listening, you are losing control and you are putting the other person in power. And that's a good thing. You don't always need control, guys. It's okay. But listening can make some people feel powerless. So they tend to interrupt or, that's all I have to say. They have to interrupt people. And also, I'm losing my train of thought, guys. I'm sorry. I'm on a roll. I'm trying to make my episodes like a little shorter. Also easier for me to actually edit them, which I don't edit that much. So, anyways, still under the topic of why we struggle to listen, you're trained to perform. You're trained to always, like, society is trained to look good. You know what I mean? And sometimes people are more focused on sounding good than being present or communicating what they want to actually say. So it makes it difficult for them to listen or talk about their emotions. And last thing I have with this is they haven't been listened to. And I kind of covered this earlier with like people not being comfortable with their emotions. If no one has ever properly listened to you, there's a big possibility that you don't know how to listen either. Or if no one's listened to the person you're talking to, they might not know how to listen because they haven't experienced it. You know what I mean? They don't know how to. It's like expecting someone who's never ridden a bike to know how to ride a bike. They need to learn. Someone needs to teach them. And like I said, it's not your job to fix them. It's not even your job to teach them. As time goes, they'll pick things up and they'll learn. And they'll practice. They might even be aware that they're not a good listener and they'll work on it. But you get what I'm saying? Sometimes people aren't good listeners simply because they've never been listened to. Okay, let's move on to the next section of this. Listening to ourselves. Okay? What does it mean to listen to yourself? You need to be aware when you feel off. You get a gut feeling, intuition, and it is hard to differentiate between intuition and anxiety or overthinking. That is hard to differentiate between sometimes. But the more you listen to yourself, the better you'll get at being able to tell the difference between you just being scared to do something because it's something new or something like that, or if it's your gut saying, no, this is a bad idea. Like, oh, all your friends are jumping off of a building and you get a bad feeling of like, this might not be too good. No, that actually might not be too good. It's probably a good gut feeling. It's probably not anxiety. It actually probably is anxiety, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you'll get it together. But if it's your first time giving a public speech, If it's your first time giving a public speech, you might get a gut feeling of like, this is gonna go so horrible. It's gonna be for real. You're nervous, and that's okay. I'd be nervous too. I'm not the biggest fan of public speaking. I would like to be, but it's kind of more in the sense of like, I don't really ever do it, so I know I would be nervous, and I know I'd be scared, and I know I'd probably be thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so bad. But even though I'm just talking to a camera, I know that I'm putting it out there. So it's a start. Anyways. What's ignoring ourselves like? Okay? Dismissing feelings, by saying we're dramatic. It's like, oh my gosh, they cheated on me, but everyone's saying it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm just gonna say I'm being dramatic. No, bro, they cheated on you. They cheated on you. if that is something that goes against your standards, don't ignore it. Listen to yourself. You get what I'm saying? Or someone called you a name and you didn't like it. Go ahead and tell them that you didn't like it. There's nothing wrong in letting someone know that they hurt your feelings. Because honestly, sometimes people are not trying to hurt your feelings by calling you something. Maybe they're trying to be funny. Now, again, it's not nice to call people things, but you get what I'm getting at? Like, how is someone gonna know unless you tell them? Side note. Something that I always try to do is tell people exactly what I want/need/feel. In the sense of, I don't want something to be up to somebody's imagination. I want them to know how I'm feeling, and I want to give them the chance to show me that, oh, I didn't know you wanted/needed/felt that way. I'm sorry. Or show me that that's not something they can do, or show me that's not something they care about. How am I supposed to know? How are they supposed to know if nobody speaks up? How else do we ignore ourselves? Saying no when we want to say yes. Switch that. Saying yes when we want to say no. Sometimes our social battery is just out. Sometimes we feel bad. And I recently did this. I was in an uncomfortable situation. Wasn't that big of a deal. And I said yes to something. Long story short, somebody that I work with is going through a rough patch, and I was trying to be there for them. However, it seemed as though they were being a little weird towards me. They asked for my number. I did not want to give them my number. However, I felt bad because they were going through a rough time, and I said yes. Looking back, I wish I said no. Thankfully, they have not reached out to me at all. I think they got the hint because I was kind of stern in them trying to continue to talk to me. I was kind of polite, but short. You know what I mean? I try my best not to be rude. I try my best not to be mean. We all have our moments, we all make mistakes, but I do try my very best. And I found that being polite but short is often helpful. There's my tip for you guys. How else do we ignore ourselves? Repeating cycles. You know something is bad for you, but you like it. So you're gonna keep doing it. That is not good. If you're doing this, cut it out. I have something that I know that I should stop. I'm gonna actually stop. Get what I'm getting at? I know you do. We're almost done, guys. I'm trying my best. Why is it hard to listen to ourselves? Similar to what I just said, people pleasing, right? We feel the need to make sure everyone else is comfortable and everyone else feels good, but what about us? It's okay to be a little selfish. It's okay to be a little selfish sometimes. Not all the time. You do not want to be a selfish person. But making sure that you are happy in your decisions is not being selfish. It might feel like it, and some people might say it is. But I think prioritizing yourself, politely, again, we don't need to go be a jerk to someone, but making sure that you are doing what is best for you, even if that means cutting someone off, just do it in a polite way. Be honest with them. Tell them the truth. Listen, you are lovely, but this is not healthy for me. This is not making me happy. Something to that effect. I need to distance myself. Really simple as that. And if they get angry at that, just got someone out of your life that was not okay with you prioritizing yourself in a time of needing to. You know? Win-win situation. Win-win situation. Okay. Anyways, last thing. Why do we crave being listened to? So, we want to be understood. Duh. Obviously, everyone wants to feel like they're being heard or understood. It's human nature, you know? It's a human need to feel seen. You don't want to feel alone. Sure, maybe some people like feeling alone. I would say a majority of people don't want to be alone. They don't want to feel alone. I know me personally, I don't like feeling alone. I like knowing people are there for me. Ooh, my camera is about to die. If it dies, I'll figure it out. Anyways, makes us feel real. Being listened to makes us feel real. I'm trying to go fast, guys, because I don't want my camera to die. That's why we vent to our friends, though, right? We talk to friends. We talk to people who we feel as though understands us. We type notes in our notes app, even though no one will read it. At least we will feel like we can get those emotions out. Something to that effect. We want to be understood, you know? What else? Why we aren't listened to, okay? So we're still under why, probably a little bit of a different angle now. But we're back. My camera died. Anyways, we are almost done with this episode, so let's get back into it. Only a few minutes left. Why we aren't listened to. We shut down and we close ourselves off. We don't even give the opportunity for someone to listen to us before we immediately close ourselves off. If you want to be listened to, you need to be willing to be vulnerable. Just like you need to be vulnerable to listen, you need to be vulnerable to be listened to. You're not going to feel heard, you're not going to feel understood if you aren't truly speaking what you feel needs to be said. What else? We start second guessing ourselves. We're like, which kind of ties into what I just said. We'll close ourselves off because of that, but we're second guessing ourselves and not feeling like what we have to say is that important or what we have to say is valid. Yeah. Lastly, what I have to say, just a few little things. Moral of this whole thing, right? Not really moral, but statement to conclude this whole thing. We crave being listened to because we're desperate for connection, but sometimes we forget to listen to ourselves, right? We want others to listen to us, but for others to listen to us, we need to listen to ourselves first and understand what we are feeling and what we need to say. Without that, no one else is truly going to understand us. So, I have a little challenge to end the episode, actually. I challenge you guys, some point in this week, to have a conversation with someone where you are fully present, no distractions, you're being an active listener, and you're not planning on what you're going to say next when you're listening to them. It's not as difficult as it sounds. Remember, the person who's talking to you is confiding in you because they feel as though you are trustworthy enough to tell. That should make you feel good enough as is. If it doesn't, then push aside the feelings of feeling good about someone confiding in you, and realize that it's just good to listen to others because you know you would want to be listened to. With that, I'm so glad that you tuned in today. I'm not promising anything, but I do already have 3 other episodes completely planned out in this here handy dandy notebook. All I gotta do is film them. I love you all. I'm grateful for you all. Stay grateful, stay amazing, stay fabulous. And until next time, this was the Grace Yourself Podcast.